My childhood friend and I were both attacked at the same time. When we woke up, my childhood friend had lost his memory. I was completely unharmed, but the soul of my grandmother, who had been dead for many years, entered my body. This coward is pretending to have amnesia to trick my darling. If I weren't dead, I'd definitely beat him to a pulp. I opened my mouth wide in shock. My grandmother's angry cursing kept echoing in my mind. In the past life, my darling was killed by that coward Song Wenjing and never had a single good day. Darling, this time when your grandfather asks you to choose a husband, you absolutely must not choose Song Wenjing. If you are going to pick someone, pick Song Hanjiang. That boy has real backbone. The next moment, grandfather and several elders indeed walked into my room. Portraits of 4 princes were laid out before me, and I was told to choose one. Without a moment's hesitation, I chose my sworn enemy Song Hanjiang. Since grandmother said Song Wenjing doesn't love me, then I don't want him anymore. Grandfather seemed a bit hesitant. Sixie, didn't you say the 4th prince always bullies you and that you dislike him the most? Once the marriage agreement is set, it cannot be changed. You need to think this through carefully. My grandfather is the grand tutor of 2 dynasties, highly valued by the current emperor. The emperor once declared that whichever prince of marriageable age marries me will be named crown prince. Song Wenjing's maternal grandfather was also greatly shocked. Sixie, didn't you like Wenjing so much that you'd marry no one but him? Wenjing has just lost his memory. Now, if you marry him first, maybe he'll remember in a few days. Grandmother snorted coldly. Get lost. In the previous life, Sulin Ruo stole my darling's jewelry, but instead blamed my darling for bullying others with her power and stealing her things. Poor my sweetheart, she didn't say anything and was driven out of the manor by Song Wenjing. My sweetheart was only wearing a single jacket and froze in the snow for so long, she almost froze unconscious. It was Song Hanjiang who helped my darling get a doctor and even beat up Song Wenjing to vent anger for my darling. Although his words aren't pleasant to hear, he is actually quite nice. Grandmother's words stirred up bitterness in my heart. I don't know why grandmother always mentions something about a previous life, but those things she talks about feel like I've experienced them myself, like a huge boulder pressing heavily on my heart, making it hard for me to breathe. Song Wenjing does indeed have feelings for Su Linru. It was me who kept shamelessly chasing after him, which is how I earned his favor. Grandfather, I've made up my mind. I choose the 3rd prince, Song Hanjiang. Grandfather put away the scroll and nodded. Good. No matter who you choose, grandfather will support you. I'll tell the emperor, and in 2 days, the emperor will bestow the marriage decree for you two. Grandmother finally felt relieved. Wonderful. This time my darling will definitely live a good life. I lowered my eyes and brows, simply tidied myself up, and left the manor to clear my head. But I ran right into my 3 potential husband candidates. Except for Song Hanjiang, all the princes were there. The 2nd prince flicked open his folding fan and asked me curiously, "Xi, when the grand tutor asked you today who you want to marry, what did you say?" The 5th prince patted the 2nd prince's shoulder and sighed. Of course, it is 4th imperial brother. Who in the capital doesn't know that Sixie likes 4th imperial brother like crazy? Hearing this, the 4th prince Song Wenjing finally spared me a glance. I lost my memory and forgot the past 3 years. I only know that the one I love is Lin Ruo. However, I've heard quite a few rumors these past few days and know I had feelings for you before. Now that the marriage is arranged, I can't disobey father's orders. Even though I don't love you now, I'll still marry you. Grandmother was so angry her voice trembled. You bastard, in your past life you pretended to have amnesia to trick my girl, and after marrying my darling, you still carried on with that vixen Sulin Ru. You made my darling so angry she got sick. then shamelessly borrowed the Jiang family's power to become crown prince. You want it all, you thieving dog. Hearing this, I looked at Song Wenjing. He lied with a straight face. If grandmother wasn't here, I really would have been fooled. I had deep feelings for Song Wenjing and once thought our love was mutual. Just like 3 years ago on my birthday, when he held my hand and climbed the star, plucking tower built especially for me. Back then, his eyes were gentle, with a hint of carefulness. Sixie, I have feelings for you. I want to marry you and take good care of you. My heart fluttered. Though we haven't formally arranged our engagement in these 3 years, I've already considered him my future husband. I never expected that he never let go of Sulin Ruo from beginning to end. He pretended to have feelings for me only because he wanted to use the Jiang family's influence. No, he probably can't keep it up anymore. So he is using the assassination attempt as an opportunity to fake amnesia. This way he can openly show his affection for Sulin Ruo while still marrying me to gain my Jiang family's support. They say you can't have your fish and eat it too, but he has got it good. Trying to easily have both. I pressed my lips together, suppressing the mockery in my eyes, and said nothing. Since he is like this, I won't expose him either. I want to see what his expression will be the day after tomorrow, when he finds out I didn't choose him. Seeing me stay silent, the 5th prince leaned in and asked quietly, Sixie, did you really choose Song Wenjing? Me lips curved slightly. The imperial marriage decree will be issued in 2 days. You'll all know then. Then I walked past them toward the estate exit. Behind me came the 5th prince's envious voice. 4th brother, Shixi must be marrying you. Back when you went out for disaster relief and caught the plague, she went straight to your residence to personally care for you, not sleeping for 3 whole days until you recovered. How could she not like you? Is that so? Song Wenjing smiled faintly, his voice drifting. To receive Miss Jiang's favor is my honor. Pain slowly spread from my heart. A thin mist covered my eyes. I bit my lip tight, didn't cry out. I love Song Wenjing. Everyone talks behind my back saying I am not reserved, but I never take it to heart. Father and mother passed away early. Grandfather and grandmother were also extremely busy running the academy, and rarely returned home. I was dull and slow. No kids would play with me, only Song Wenjing would bring me along. I've had feelings for him since I was little, so when I heard him say he had feelings for me too, I was thrilled and overjoyed, secretly vowing to treat him well. What a pity, he harbored ulterior motives, didn't have a shred of sincerity toward me. Jiang Hui, wait. A voice called out to me from behind. It was Song Wenjing. He casually walked up in front of me. You chose me as your husband. I will marry you as agreed, and I'll give you the position of imperial consort. But I hope you can understand. The person I love most is Lin Ruo. I hope you won't be too jealous, and don't interfere with us. I stared into his eyes, meeting his gaze. Didn't you say you don't remember me? So how would you think I'd definitely choose you? Song Wenjing raised his eyebrows slightly. They all told me you love me very much. If you don't choose me, who would you choose? I smiled bitterly. He still knows that I really like him. Then does he have to do this? Crush my sincere heart? You don't need to worry. From now on, I won't pester you anymore. Won't bother you either. You can do whatever you want. Seeing how decisively I agreed to him, Song Wenjing was slightly dazed. I turned around and continued walking out of the manor. He instinctively reached out his hand when suddenly a girl charged at me like a firecracker. The impact from the collision made me fall hard to the ground, my knee hitting the threshold with piercing pain. Sulin Ruo's expression changed slightly as she kept bowing and apologizing, coming forward pitifully to help me up. I am sorry, Sister Huisi. Please don't be angry. I didn't mean to knock you down. Before I could speak, grandmother's furious voice filled my entire mind. Past life and present, this little wench either frames and harms my darling, or pretends to cry and blames my darling. These lowly tricks, only an idiot like Song Wenjing would believe them. And he even scolds my darling. Bah. Seeing Su Linruo's tears, Song Wenjing indeed felt distressed. Linruo, it is fine. It is just a small accident. I am here. No one dares to blame you. As he spoke, he gently helped Su Linruo up, then turned to look at me, his voice carrying a hint of threat. It is just a bump. You surely won't blame Linruo, right? My knee was scraped, with traces of fresh blood flowing down my leg. I endured the pain and stood up. Su Linruo's eyes brimmed with tears. Her voice choked. Sister Huaixi, I am sorry. It is all because I was too reckless. I'll slap myself right now to make you feel better. Then she raised her hand and slapped herself hard across the face. Song Wenjing quickly grabbed her hand and glared at me furiously. Jiang Huaixi, what do you mean by this? Linruo already said it wasn't intentional. Why do you still have to bully people like this? Grandmother got even angrier. Song Wenjing, are your ears broken or is your brain broken? My darling hasn't even said anything. How is this bullying others? I am so angry my liver hurts, darling. Quickly show them what is what. Slap these two people hard across the face. As soon as grandmother finished speaking, I directly raised my hand, and with two slap slap sounds, harshly slapped Su Linruo twice. Then I looked at Song Wenjing. See clearly now, this is what bullying others means. Su Linruo was stunned from the slaps. Song Wenjing also froze. Jiang Huaixi, you are really going too far. I decisively raised my hand and cleanly slapped him across the face. I paused for a moment, remembering grandmother's words, and before Song Wenjing could recover, harshly slapped him again. This is going too far. Oh, ladies, who hasn't wanted to do this at least once in their 20s? This scene is deliciously satisfying. The other woman tries to pull the classic manipulative move, faking an injury and crying victim to make Shixi look like a bully, and the ex-boyfriend immediately takes the bait, scolding Sixi. Normally, this is where the heartbroken heroine runs away crying, but with Granny practically cheering her on from the spiritual bleachers, Sixi thinks, you want a bully, I'll give you a bully. The physical slaps are great, but the emotional boundary being drawn is even better. It's the exact moment she reclaims her power. The suspense for the audience is incredible here. You are just waiting to see if she'll fall back into her old submissive habits. And instead, she spectacularly chooses herself. Song Wenjing completely froze, staring at me dumbfounded. Since childhood, I'd been his little follower. If he said one, I wouldn't say two, let alone hit him. It took him a good while to react before he glared at me viciously. Fine, Jiang Huaixi, you are really something. You actually dare to lay hands on me now. Don't you regret this? Linruo, I'll take you to the clinic to get checked out. Grandmother snorted coldly, still trying to scare me, saying, I shouldn't regret it. What a joke. Oh my goodness, that fall must have been hard. It has gotta hurt. I lowered my eyes, looking at the wound that kept bleeding. The pain and grievances hidden deep in my heart finally couldn't help but surge up. When I was young, whenever Song Wenjing saw my wounds, he would cry in distress and take care of me meticulously. Now he turns a blind eye to my injuries and even warns me not to make things difficult for his sweetheart. Such a completely different person. How could I entrust my life to him? If I really married him, it would just be repeating the same mistakes. I wiped away my tears and went to the clinic to find a doctor to treat the wound on my leg. As soon as I entered the door, I saw on the other side of the medicine hall Su Linruo and Song Wenjing close together, their movements full of intimacy. I heard her sweet, cloying voice. Brother Wenjing, if Sister Huaixi finds out that you deliberately pretended to have amnesia just so you could be with me openly, Will she go crazy with anger? Song Wenjing affectionately ruffled her hair. Even if she knows, there is nothing she can do. Everyone knows she loves me to the bone. Even with my amnesia, she still eagerly clings to me, begging me to marry her, grandmother sneered. Oh my, go ahead and brag. In a couple days at the engagement banquet when they announce the groom, you'll be crying so hard you won't find the door. I forced out a stiff smile and sat down to bandage the wound. Suddenly, someone shouted in panic, "Run! Someone's attacking people with a knife." That one sentence instantly alarmed everyone. I ran outside with the crowd, but because of my leg injury, I was pushed to the back and caught by the attacking patient. He raised the knife high in his hand, about to slash at me. After all, I am a woman, and my strength is really limited. In the chaos, I saw Song Wenjing attracted by the commotion here. I couldn't care about anything else and hurriedly called out for help. Song Wenjing, save me. Song Wenjing instinctively ran toward me, wanting to save me, but Su Linruo grabbed his sleeve tightly. Brother Wenjing, it is so scary. I am so afraid. Please don't leave me. Song Wenjing's movement slowed down. In the moment he hesitated, my arm was slashed by the knife, leaving a bleeding wound. The pain made me cry out. Grandmother was as anxious as an ant on a hot pan. Oh my, what should we do in the previous life? Someone also came to the clinic to rob. How did my dear child run into this again? Song Wenjing, that useless coward. My dear child has been so good to him, risked her life for him several times, yet he just watches my dear child get hurt. The intense pain almost made me pass out. I bit my lip hard to stay conscious, then shouted at Song Wenjing. Song Wenjing, please save me. I am going to die. But the moment I spoke, Su Linruo suddenly screamed. A bandit saw they were dressed in fine clothes, raised his knife and charged at them. Song Wenjing immediately shielded Su Linruo behind him and ran out of the clinic. I watched helplessly as Song Wenjing protected his beloved and escaped, a strong sense of despair suddenly surging up in my heart. I thought even if he didn't love me, I had been good to him after all. After all these years together, day and night, when I faced life and death, he should at least pity me and save me. The knife came at me head on when the bandit in front of me suddenly stumbled and fell to the side. Song Han knocked down the patient fighting with me with one punch, put his arm around my shoulder and ran outside. This is the true crux of the romance, isn't it? Talk is ridiculously cheap. Song Wenjing, the ex, spends the whole story claiming he still cares for Shixi. But the moment a literal knife is drawn in the clinic, he grabs his new girl and runs, leaving Shixi bleeding. And then, out of nowhere, comes Song Hanjiang, the grumpy, supposedly cold prince, who has never said a single sweet thing to her. He doesn't hesitate. He throws a punch, shields her, and gets her out. It's a beautifully raw moment that asks the timeless question, when the chips are down, who actually has your back? It profoundly shifts the dynamic, showing us that real love doesn't need flowery speeches. It needs showing up. Go. Cries and screams rose everywhere. The scene was chaotic, but fortunately, the patrolling soldiers quickly subdued the troublemaking bandits. I hadn't come back to my senses yet, trembling all over as I crouched in the corner. Song Han draped his own outer garment over me, looking at me with a complicated gaze, and I forced myself to thank him, without asking him a single question. My injury at the clinic was soon known to grandfather, who was furious and demanded an explanation from Song Wenjing and the SU family. The SU family immediately confined Su Linruo and sent someone to deliver fine supplements to me as an apology gift. Song Wenjing's mother, consort, nearly fainted from anger and ordered Song Wenjing to personally come and apologize. That very night, Song Wenjing came with apology gifts. He casually tossed the apology gift onto the table, his eyes looking at me with hostility. Jiang Huaixi, today I didn't save you. What does that have to do with Guan Linru? Why did you have the Su family punish her and confine her? Are you doing this on purpose? I raised my arm, wrapped in layers of gauze and still seeping blood. See it, Song Wenjing. Song Wenjing pressed his lips together. But you are still alive, aren't you? Everyone knows you are the only daughter of the Jiang family. As long as you call out, many people will come to help you. But Linru only has me to protect her. You saw it today too. She almost got hurt as well. Can you stop resenting her so much? Go beg your grandfather to lift her confinement, or else I'll cancel the engagement and won't marry you. Song Wenjing's words carried confidence and an unyielding tone, as if certain I would give in. My heart turned cold. I shook my head in disappointment, having nothing to say to him. Butler, escort the fourth prince out of the estate. The butler waved his hand and called over the estate's guards to escort Song Wenjing out of the Grand Tutor's residence. Song Wenjing flew into a rage, but could only hold it in. As he left, he threw out a line, Jiang Huaixi, don't regret this. The next day, Song Wenjing didn't come looking for me. Grandfather valued my marriage greatly and held a grand banquet for me at the estate. I wore magnificent brocade robes, with a headdress of pearls and jade, and slowly made my way to the main hall where the banquet was being held. Wenjing stood in the center of the hall, with Su Linruo by his side, her smile radiant as a flower. I raised my eyebrows slightly, somewhat surprised that Su Linruo, who was supposed to be grounded, could still appear here. Grandmother was furious. It must be that Song Wenjing went to the Su family and used his status to get them to lift the grounding. He really cares about Su Linruo. How come in the previous life he never cared this much about my precious darling? That bastard. That bastard. Song Wenjing coldly glanced at me and quickly turned his head away. The guests whispered to each other. Why does the fourth prince seem unwilling to acknowledge Miss Jiang, yet so intimate with the Su family's second miss? I heard through the grapevine that the third prince also likes Miss Jiang. Could it be that the one engaged to Miss Jiang is someone else? Don't talk nonsense. Although after the fourth prince lost his memory, he only loves the Su family's second miss. Miss Jiang only likes the fourth prince. This engagement will definitely be with the fourth prince. Song Hanjiang's gaze swept over those few people like a knife. Those people immediately dared not speak anymore. Grandfather was in high spirits, holding my hand. Sixi, today is your engagement banquet. This important matter of whom you are getting engaged to, you shall announce it yourself. All right, I nodded with a light smile, feeling a gaze following me closely. It was Song Wenjing. He looked at him, the corners of my mouth curving slightly. He unconsciously clenched his fists, his eyes inexplicably expectant. I looked at the guests before me and spoke with a smile. Thank you all for coming to my engagement banquet. Now I will announce that my fiancé is my fiancé, the third prince, Song Hanjiang. As soon as the words fell, the noisy crowd instantly fell silent and quieted down. The second prince's fan, which never left his side when he was out, dropped to the ground in shock. He opened his mouth in surprise. Sixi, did you say the wrong name? Shouldn't you be engaged to Song Wenjing? How could it be Song Hanjiang? Echoes of agreement rose from all sides. Everyone present found it hard to believe that I didn't choose Song Wenjing. I didn't say the wrong name. The future husband I choose is Song Hanjiang. I walked up to Song Hanjiang and handed him the dragon and phoenix pendant I had prepared long ago as a token of our engagement. Song Hanjiang didn't reach out his hand, only looked at me quietly. I bit my lip. Are you unwilling? Song Hanjiang's expression was complicated. After a while, his eyes curved into a smile. Of course I am willing. He took the dragon and phoenix pendant, caressed it carefully for a moment, then hung it at his waist, and performed a grand bow to grandfather. The breath I'd been holding was finally released. The guests who could attend the engagement banquet all had good sense. Regardless of whether things developed as they wished, they could all smile and offer congratulations. The third prince and Miss Jiang are childhood sweethearts. Look, they're such a perfect match standing together. I said they'd end up together, and you all didn't believe me. Grandmother's voice was mocking. What a bunch of flip-floppers. Earlier I heard them laughing at my darling for chasing after Song Wenjing without knowing any shame, and now they're singing praises again. Aren't they afraid of karma for their rotten gossiping tongues? Oh my, who doesn't believe it? Didn't I agree with you back then? The third prince is gentle and handsome. With my keen eye, I could tell early on that Miss Jiang would end up with the third prince. Grandmother spat harshly. This one's also learning to be a fence. Sitter throwing away all shame just to flatter others. You think I am deaf? Just now you were still saying Song Hanjiang is like a block of ice, a wooden stake, and whichever girl marries into his family won't live without suffering. Those false words, as soon as they were spoken, were ruthlessly exposed by grandmother in her mind. Hearing grandmother expose the lies one by one, I couldn't help but laugh out loud. What are you laughing at? Song Hanjiang tilted his head slightly, looking at me with confusion. Suddenly, I wanted to tease him a bit, so I swallowed the proper explanation I had originally planned and looked at him as I spoke. Because I am so happy, I can finally marry the person I love. Song Hanjiang instantly froze in place with stiff limbs, his ear tips suddenly turning red. Grandmother teased a bit. This child, why is his face so thin? I was also a bit surprised, not expecting that Song Hanjiang, who was always cold and would always say inexplicable things to annoy me, would get embarrassed so easily. Back then, when I liked to chase after Song Wenqing, I was a famous little tag-along. Song Wenqing's little friends would secretly bully me when Song Wenqing wasn't around, pushing me into mud pits. It was Song Hanjiang who suddenly appeared, gave them a good beating and chased them away. His face still held a childish look as he coldly pulled me up. Just as I was about to apologize, he wrinkled his nose and spoke with disgust. So dirty, and stupid too. Getting bullied and not even knowing to hit back, rather than relying on that smiling tiger Song Wenqing, you are better off relying on your own fists. I clutched at my mud-stained clothes, feeling Song Hanjiang's gaze, my heart aching without knowing why, and ran away crying with a flushed face. However, although Song Hanjiang's words always made me angry, every time I needed help, he was always the first to appear. I used to think he was really mean and wanted nothing more than to stay far away from him. But later, when I mentioned this to grandmother once, she couldn't help but laugh. Dear child, you are still young and don't understand what it means to say one thing but mean another. Having been used to being bullied by Song Hanjiang before, now suddenly turning the tables, I wanted to seize this opportunity even more. So I stepped closer and looked at him. Being able to marry me as your wife, aren't you happy about that? Naturally, I am very happy. It is just that we haven't married yet, so we should still maintain some distance. Song Hanjiang spoke rigidly, but the small black mole beside his nose was covered with a thin layer of sweat, and even his face had turned red. I couldn't help but reach out and touch his burning cheek. Song Hanjiang instantly froze, and the next second he grabbed my hand and turned his head away. I brought something on the carriage. I'll go get it. Wait for me. With that, he quickly ran off. Grandmother suppressed a laugh. This child, such a sweet talker, quite likable indeed. I agreed with grandmother from the bottom of my heart. Song Hanjiang was so adorable just now. A gaze that was hard to ignore kept staring at me. I turned my head and met Song Wenjing's eyes directly. His eyes were full of shock and disbelief. Sulin Ruo gently tugged at his sleeve beside him, but he probably saw the intimacy between me and Song Hanjiang just now. Grandmother spoke disdainfully. Some people just don't know what is good for them. When chosen, they don't treasure it. And when not chosen, their hearts keep stirring restlessly. I curved my lips, withdrew my gaze, and after accepting the guest's compliments, I felt a bit tired, so I prepared to leave the main hall to rest in the garden for a while. I was walking out when Song Wenjing's low voice came from behind me. "Why is it Song Hanjiang? When did you start liking him?" I turned around and looked at him coldly. "Fourth Prince, may I ask in what capacity are you questioning my affairs? My marriage is decided by myself. If not Song Hanjiang, could it be you?" Song Wenjing frowned slightly. "But didn't you have feelings for me, and even said it had to be me?" "Fourth Prince, don't talk nonsense and ruin my reputation," I sneered. "Besides, you also said before that you lost your memory and only love Su Lin Ru, and told me not to disturb you two. Could it be your brain is broken again and you don't remember?" Song Wenjing opened his mouth. "Right. It was clearly him who begged Jiang Huaixi not to come and disturb him, and it was also him who said he only loved Su Lin Ru. But why? When he learnt that Jiang Huaixi chose Song Hanjiang, did he lose his composure and nearly shed tears, as if a piece of his heart had been cruelly gouged out?" After a long while, Song Wenjing finally found his voice and spoke. "But after you said you wanted to marry Song Hanjiang, my heart ached. I think I still have feelings for you. Maybe once we're married and we live our lives well together, after a while my amnesia will get better." At the same time, grandmother's angry scolding echoed in my mind. "Shameless piece of trash, give you a bit of face, and you really think you are something special. Now spouting lies to trick my dear child. Not afraid your mouth will rot, really acting like you've lost your memory." I couldn't be bothered to say more to him, let out a cold laugh, and exposed his act. "Song Wenjing, do you really think you are faking amnesia so well?" Song Wenjing's face was full of shock, forgetting to pretend for a moment, his voice trembling. You know," I looked at him mockingly, "your acting is really terrible, but I've also done as you wished and won't disturb you and Su Lin Ruo anymore, so from now on, don't come disturbing me either." Song Wenjing suddenly tried to grab me, but I shook him off forcefully. He wanted to chase after me, but was held back tightly by Su Lin Ruo. "So you chose Song Hanjiang. Everyone in the capital knows what he is like. Can't you think about yourself for once? I know what kind of person he is myself, so I won't trouble the fourth prince to worry about it." I shook my head and turned to leave. Behind me, Song Wenjing's face twisted as he stared at me and shouted loudly, "You think Song Hanjiang is a good person? When you marry him, you'll regret it one day." "No, I won't regret it." In my mind came grandmother's praising voice. "No wonder you are grandmother's precious darling. Our good girl doesn't need that little brat anyway. We should kick him far, far away." I left the main hall and went to the garden to admire the flowers. "How did you end up here? Didn't I tell you to wait for me?" A clear voice came from beside me. It was Song Hanjiang. He turned my head and happened to meet his deep eyes. "Look, these flowers are blooming so beautifully. Back when we were at the Imperial Academy, the flowers bloomed just like today." As grandfather was the Grand Preceptor, I naturally had the qualifications to enter the Imperial Academy and study together with the princes. There was nowhere to play at the Imperial Academy. So during breaks, what I loved most was going to the garden to admire the flowers. Usually Song Wenqing would accompany me to admire the flowers, but sometimes when he didn't want to come and I went alone, I would always run into Song Hanjiang. Back then, I didn't like Song Hanjiang, not only because he didn't speak nicely, but also because he always harbored hostility towards Song Wenqing. And since I was on Song Wenqing's side, naturally we always argued. Only when admiring flowers could we quietly stay together and appreciate the fragrance and beauty of the flowers. Song Hanjiang unfastened the dragon and phoenix pendant hanging at his waist, held it in his hand and caressed it, eyes downcast. not knowing what he was thinking about. I sensed his mood was low, so I stayed silent like him. After a long while, he finally spoke. The engagement banquet is almost over, and you are satisfied too. Have you thought about when you'll clarify things to everyone? I was a bit puzzled. Clarify what? The husband I chose is you. Song Hanjiang smiled bitterly, slowly holding the dragon and phoenix pendant out to me, his voice involuntarily choking up a bit. It is okay. I know everything. The one you like is Song Wenjing, and I am just a tool you are using to make him jealous. You don't need to lie to comfort me. I know that when Song Wenjing realizes he can't lose you and comes looking for you, you'll cast me aside. He actually wanted to return the love token to me. I looked at him in disbelief, angry at his misunderstanding, angry that he wanted to break off the engagement. But my anger was mixed with a bit of guilt. Grandmother laughed cheerfully and teased. This child looks steady and calm, but didn't expect he'd get jealous too. I suddenly understood. The fire in my heart instantly extinguished. I took the jade pendant and forcefully shoved it back into his hand. But I am serious. Song Wenjing instinctively tried to pull his hand back, his eyes evasive. I didn't give him a chance to escape, gripping his hand tightly and commanding, "Look at me." Song Hanjiang froze, obediently looked at me, his eyes very complicated. "Jiang Huaixi, do you know what you are saying? Have you really made up your mind to marry me?" My eyes curved with a smile, the corners of my mouth lifting slightly. "Of course. Or do you not want to marry me at all?" Halfway through my words, Song Hanjiang pulled me into a tight embrace. Through our clothes, I felt his warm body temperature and his slightly trembling body. Song Hanjiang's voice was clear and crisp, filled with joy. "I do." 7 days later would be an auspicious day, and also the day of my wedding with Song Hanjiang. After yesterday, my relationship with him had progressed by leaps and bounds, so today I gladly accepted his invitation to go to Fragrant Mountain together to pray for blessings. We had just arrived at Fragrant Mountain when we spotted 2 familiar figures at the temple entrance. "Why are you here?" Song Wenjing asked in a low voice, and when he saw Song Hanjiang standing beside me, a trace of annoyance flashed in his eyes. Song Hanjiang showed no weakness, taking my hand and raising his eyebrows at Song Wenjing. "You two can meet at Fragrant Mountain when neither of you is married, so why can't I come with my fiancé?" When saying fiancé, Song Hanjiang deliberately emphasized his voice, looking at Song Wenjing smugly. Song Wenjing indeed flew into a rage, glaring viciously at Song Hanjiang. "She and I are completely innocent. Watch your words." Grandmother finished reading everything and clicked her tongue. Pitifully small courage, but a frighteningly scheming mind, a useless fool with no backbone. I nodded in agreement. Then, without even a glance, I took Song Hanjiang's hand and entered the temple. Song Hanjiang took the red cloth strip given by the temple, wrote his name and birth date on it. I took the red cloth strip, preparing to write my own, only to discover that Song Hanjiang had already written it for me. I looked at Song Hanjiang in surprise. His ears turned red again, a bit embarrassed. "You mentioned it at your birthday banquet before, so I remembered it." My heart swelled with emotion, not knowing what to say. I suddenly thought of Song Wenjing. He never remembered my birthday before, always giving me birthday gifts 2 days early. I told him many times, even specifically reminding him of the exact date a few days before my birthday. But he still couldn't remember, still giving me the birthday gift 2 days early. Every time he used having a bad memory as an excuse, and I truly believed it, letting it go. It wasn't until later that I realized the 2 days before my birthday happened to be Su Linru's birthday. So, whether a person holds you in their heart, whether they treat you sincerely, is something you can tell at a glance. Song Hanjiang couldn't stand my burning gaze any longer and dropped a line. I am going to tie the cloth strip on the marriage tree. Then, feigning composure, he walked toward the marriage tree, but his awkward gait betrayed the panic in his heart. Grandmother chuckled a bit. This child, quite shy indeed. My dear one has so much fortune ahead. I lowered my head and smiled shyly. Samon came to stand beside me, Songhan. I smiled and looked up, just about to call out Songhan Zhang's name, but stopped when I saw that face. It was Song Wenjing. What are you doing here, Song Wenjing? Paid no attention to my coldness and said to himself, Jiang Huaixi, it is still early. There are still 7 days before you get married. Go beg your grandfather and the emperor for mercy. Say you want to cancel the engagement and marry me instead. Your grandfather dotes on you so much. He'll definitely agree. Then I'll come to propose immediately. Grandma was a bit irritated. Why is it this little punk again, so annoying? I laughed in anger. You want me to break off the engagement and marry you? Song Wenjing, you really have some nerve. Choked by my retort, Song Wenjing paused for a moment, but didn't get angry and continued speaking. I shouldn't have pretended to have amnesia to deceive you before, but now I know I was wrong. Besides, didn't you get engaged to Song Han Zhang just to spite me? I admit your tactics were effective. Break off the engagement and I'll marry you. I never thought I'd hear the 3 words, I'll marry you, from Song Wenjing's mouth so easily today. Words I'd always wanted to hear before. But unfortunately, at the clinic, when he protected Su Linru and disregarded my life and death, I completely stopped loving him. I sneered. You pretend to have amnesia, then beg me not to bother you and Su Linru. Can the harm your actions cause me be washed away with a casual? I know I was wrong. We both know the Emperor's talk about deciding the Crown Prince through marriage was just a joke, and you've recently won over the right Chancellor too. Right, you don't need the Grand Tutor's manor anymore. So why won't you let me go? Song Wenjing looked at me silently. He didn't really need the Grand Tutor's manor's support, but just thinking about me becoming someone else's wife made his heart twist with discomfort. I looked away. Whatever, think what you want. But I've made myself very clear. I won't break off the engagement, and I definitely won't marry you. Let's put an end to everything from before. I don't want to see you in private anymore. 4th Prince, you should leave. But Song Wenjing didn't move, stubbornly standing by my side. Just then, Song Hanzhang came back. What a coincidence. Little brother running into you again. That dear sister of yours was just pulling me aside at the door, asking all sorts of questions. Not letting her follow you around isn't very gentlemanly of you. Their eyes met, as if crackling with lightning. Song Wenjing's face darkened. You are not married yet. Aren't you celebrating a bit too early? Jiang Huaixi used to like me all along. Song Hanzhang sneered. Little brother said it yourself. Sixi used to like you. The past is the past. The present is the present. Surely little brother knows that now. The person Sixi loves most is me. Song Wenjing refused to back down. Imperial brother, you really dare to say that, when clearly I am the one who, before he could finish speaking, Su Linru rushed up and hugged him. Song Hanzhang looked at him provocatively. Oh my, I am so sorry. I forgot to tell you earlier. I brought Su Linruo here using your name. Aren't you two deeply in love? Since you came out together, how could you be separated? Song Wenjing pushed Su Linruo away and, clenching his fists in exasperation, rushed forward to hit Song Hanzhang, but accidentally tripped, and the two of them fell to the ground together. Song Wenjing, what are you trying to do? Seeing this, I quickly ran to Song Hanzhang's side, shoved Song Wenjing away, and pulled Song Hanzhang up with concern. Song Wenjing explained guiltily, I accidentally tripped just now. It wasn't on purpose. But I ignored him, only holding on to Song Hanzhang to examine him carefully. When I found the wound on his hand scraped by a pebble, I led him away with concern to find a young monk for a medicine box to clean and bandage it. Song Wenjing followed along too, stretching out his palm. Sixi, look at me. I am injured too." I slapped his hand away, my eyes burning with fury. "You get lost and never appear in front of me again." I had never spoken to him like this before. Song Wenjing looked at me in disbelief, his mouth opening and closing as he tried to speak, but was frightened by my angry expression. He forcibly swallowed back the words in his mouth. After a long while, he flicked his sleeve and left with a dark expression. After that, the preparations for my wedding banquet with Song Hanjiang went very smoothly. When Song Hanjiang and I were selecting hair ornaments and jewelry, grandmother evaluated each one, carefully matching them, lamenting that she couldn't personally help me with my makeup. When Song Hanjiang and I were selecting wedding attire, grandmother's voice was full of affection, repeatedly saying I looked beautiful, sighing that, in an instant, I had become a young lady about to be married. At this important time of my wedding, I was somewhat melancholic and afraid, but grandmother stayed by my side the whole time, which made me feel very at ease. 7 days later, on the wedding day, Song Hanjiang and I bowed and got married. After the ceremony ended, grandmother's voice came through my mind, crying tears of joy. Her usually cheerful voice actually carried some trembling. How wonderful to be able to witness my dear one getting married with my own eyes. My dear is truly special. Now I can leave in peace too. My heart tightened. I wanted to comfort grandmother, but suddenly remembered that she seemed unable to hear what I was saying. The ceremony ended, and the wedding banquet was about to begin. Song Wenjing was just about to go out and arrange the guests when I stopped him. "Hanjiang, you've been busy non-stop since early this morning. Sit down and rest for a while. I can go arrange the guests too." Song Hanjiang shook his head, wanting to stand up, but seeing my expression that brooked no refusal, he still smiled and agreed. "All right, you go ahead." I nodded and walked to the main hall to attend to the guests. Amidst the bustle, I heard a cry of alarm. "Watch out! An assassin!" In just an instant, a flash of swordlight passed by. I dodged instinctively, but still had a lock of hair cut off. The strike having failed, the assassin threw a lot of white powder at my face. I inhaled it sharply, and my head became somewhat dizzy. At that moment, the sword tip thrust toward me. I dodged sluggishly and was still stabbed. Blood flowed out, and I couldn't hold on and fainted. As soon as I woke up, Song Hanjiang excitedly grabbed my hand. His voice choked with emotion. "Sixi, fortunately I arrived in time. You were only lightly stabbed in the arm. This time it is my fault. From now on, I will definitely protect you well." He held me tightly, his body actually trembling a little. I patted his back soothingly, but felt somewhat dazed, as if I had lost something. Suddenly, I snapped back to reality. Grandmother was gone. If she had seen me injured, grandmother would definitely have fussed over me with concern. But even when I pressed hard on my bandaged wound, gasping from the pain, grandmother's voice still didn't sound. I lowered my eyes. After a long while, I finally sorted out my thoughts. Perhaps grandmother had witnessed my wedding with her own eyes, knew that I would surely be happy in the future, her wish fulfilled, and so she left. On the 3rd day after grandmother passed away, grandfather took me and Song Hanjiang to the ancestral graves. Standing before grandmother's grave, my eyes stung a little, and I burned a lot of paper money together with Song Hanjiang. After burning it, grandfather waved his hand. "I still have things to say to your grandmother. You two go back first." Song Hanjiang and I acknowledged and left. Grandfather stood alone in front of the grave, letting out a soft sigh. "You came to me in a dream before, saying something about seeing a past life, and that our darling was being bullied by that bastard Song Wenjing. You were so angry that you used your own merit to exchange a new life for our darling. I will admit, this part genuinely brought a tear to my eye. Throughout the story, we assume Sixie's rebirth and the grandmother's voice are just a stroke of magical luck. But in this quiet, beautiful moment at the cemetery, grandfather reveals the truth. Grandma didn't just hang around out of boredom. She traded her own afterlife karma, her spiritual merit, just to give her granddaughter a second chance at happiness. The sheer weight of that ancestral matriarchal love changes the entire tone of the story from a simple romantic comeback to a deeply moving tribute to the women who fiercely protect us, even from the beyond. I didn't believe it at first, but then our darling really did suddenly stop liking Song Wenjing. Old woman, it was you who helped, wasn't it? Grandfather suddenly laughed. If you were here, you'd definitely laugh at me again. But yeah, you've always been able to do things that surprise me. I should have believed you. As long as I am alive, I'll protect our darling. Now, our darling has married Song Hanjiang too. He is the grandson. In law you personally chose. Even after I die, our darling will be safe. You can rest easy now, can't you? Grandfather spoke slowly and leisurely, talking until it got dark. Finally, grandfather stroked the name on the tombstone. Old woman, I am leaving now. I'll come again next year. Time passed, and 5 years later, Song Hanjiang and I were still deeply in love, and our daughter was born. In front of grandmother's grave, there was now another little child babbling away. I held my daughter and took her little hand to place it on the tombstone. Grandmother, this is our daughter. Her name is Anan. Look, isn't she adorable? She'll be safe and sound just like me. My daughter touched the tombstone, and suddenly a butterfly flew over and landed on her hand. My daughter giggled. Little treasure is so cute. Hurry and let great-grandfather hold her. I smiled and handed the swaddling clothes to grandfather. Song Hanjiang also came closer, looking at our daughter and speaking proudly. Of course, just look whose daughter she is, you brat, taking all the credit for yourself. Watching them, I turned my head to look at the tombstone and couldn't help but laugh out loud. That butterfly circled around us for a long while, then wobbled its way toward the flower bushes on the other side. Having read this story from start to finish, if I were to summarize its true essence, I'd give you 2 phrases: fierce matriarchal love and the power of choosing better. This isn't just a story about dumping a narcissistic ex and finding a better man. It is profoundly about how women protect each other. The grandmother's unconditional, vocal love acts as Shixie's internal compass, teaching her that her worth is not tied to a man who treats her as an option. And when Shixie finally learns to value herself, when she embraces the power of choosing better, she doesn't just gain a husband who actually respects her, she gains a life of peace. It reminds us that sometimes the greatest act of self-care is simply walking away from the people who require you to shrink yourself to fit into their lives. Now, we might not all be lucky enough to have a fabulous, sassy ghost, grandma whispering life advice and telling us to slap toxic men in our ears, but you do have me. If you loved unpacking this brilliant story of self-worth, and if you also believe in choosing the guy who holds the umbrella rather than the one who leaves you in the rain, do be a darling and hit that subscribe button. Give this video a like and jump into the comments below. Tell me, what would your grandmother have whispered in your ear during your worst breakup? Let's share some tea in the comments. Until next time, my lovelies, keep your standards high, your boundaries firm, and never settle for being anyone's second choice. Ta-ra.